Speaking Task 1. You will be asked a question about a familiar topic. You will then have 15 seconds to prepare your response, and 45 seconds to speak.
Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? The government should forbid violence and bad language in TV programs. Use specific reasons and examples in your answer.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep. Speaking Task 2. You will read a short paragraph and then listen to a conversation between two people. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep. Now listen to the conversation between two people.
Hey Mark, you live in Section A, don't you? How do you feel about the recent announcement?
I hate it. I think it's preposterous for them to be doing this.
Why do you think that? Is it that big of an inconvenience?
Yes, it most certainly is. Not only do I have to think about what to do with my parking on a Sunday afternoon. Again, it is a free day on which you rest. But it will also be a pain to do so.
Okay, I see your point that you want to relax on Sunday, but why is it difficult?
Well, they say that there is a lot of parking on campus, and that is right when our section is open for students and when it's a weekday. But on the weekends, all the parking spaces are pretty much filled up. On Sunday, everybody is on campus in order to rest, so it will be a problem to find a parking space. I may even have to park all the way on the other side of the university.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
It certainly is. They should have constructed another parking next to the arena. This is not fair. I paid the same amount of money for campus housing just like the other students. They have no right to make us do this. I will definitely complain.
What will you tell them?
I will ask them to refund part of the money I paid for campus housing. The parking was included in the contract I signed.
How does the male student feel about the recent announcement and what does he plan to do about it?
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep. Speaking Task 3. You will read a short paragraph about an academic topic, then listen to a lecture about it. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep. Now listen to the lecture.
To disperse means to spread out. Now, why do you need to spread out? In this way, you could get new resources. Let's take an example of a seed. It would move to a new place where it could have access to more soil, water, sun, and nutrients. There are several types of dispersion. The example of the seed that we mentioned is plant dispersion, and there are many ways in which it is achieved. Some plants use wind, others use animals to spread, then some use simple gravity. Then we have two types of animal dispersal. One of them is the motile animal dispersal and the non-motile one. The motile animal dispersal is the most common one. It is done by animals that are movable. Some use their own energy to move, while others use wind like plants, and then some use the movement of water to go. Non-motile animals, the animals that don't move, like sponges and coral reefs, do have a motile phase in which they reproduce, when the release of the sperm cells and unfertilized eggs. But after this phase of reproduction, they will remain fixed at one place.
Describe the types of dispersion that the professor talks about. Use points and examples from the lecture.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep. You will listen to a lecture about an academic topic. After, you will get a question about what you heard. You will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. Now listen to the lecture.
2 forms of addiction are recognized by the experts. Chemical addiction. This is the addiction that involves the use of substances like drugs and alcohol. And behavioral addiction. This has to do with compulsive behavior that we are unable to stop. Now, to talk a little bit in general about addiction. Addiction messes with your everyday life and it stops the normal brain function. When you do something enjoyable, you get a dose of dopamine. It can be just walking along the beach, drinking wine, or injecting heroin. The desire to experience the happiness from these things again can trigger cravings for them, and these cravings are the first signals of addiction. Chemical addiction is the physical addiction that the body develops to substances like narcotics, alcohol, or nicotine. Physical dependency to such substances starts when the body develops a tolerance to them, which forces the individual to take higher doses of them in order to get the same effect. Addiction to alcohol and nicotine are the most common form of chemical addiction today, while heroin is the most destructive one. When it comes to behavioral addiction, the individual feels the same happiness or euphoria just like in the chemical addiction, but instead of the feelings being caused by a substance, they are caused by certain behavior. Gambling addiction is a great example. The thrill that an individual feels when risking their money for a chance to win big releases the same dopamine rush we see in people who abuse drugs. Other common behavioral addictions are associated with sex and shopping.
What types of addiction does the professor talk about in his lecture? Include points and examples.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.